warmly invite Mr. Debadatta Chand, MD and CEO of Bank of Baroda, to speak on growth amidst the strategic digital evolution. So, welcome, sir.
Good morning, all present here. To begin with, Mallikarjun Rao Saab and Mr. Mohan Tangsale, both of whom in my parent cadre I worked under them. Mr. Rajnish Karnatak, my fellow MD, Mr. Ruben Lim, and the FinTech Singapore CEO, all leaders of the tech and FinTech space here. I'll talk something basic with regard to the usage of technology, particularly in banking, and a couple of building blocks that are driving the India story, both in terms of technology-led banking. And there is something I would like to discuss, and I'll leave some thoughts with all of you, because you have a 2 days conclave, and I think all of you can deliberate to figure out some answer to it. The first building block in terms of the digital evolution that the banking we talk about, and typically the churn that's happening on the payment space is on the UPI. And whenever, like Bank of Baroda, Bank of India, we do have a huge international presence, and whenever we go abroad and talk to the regulator, the UPI story is a game changer as far as India is concerned. Look at a scenario where a 76-year-old mother or a 5-year-old relative, they all using UPI and doing a banking transaction. 5 years down, back, or 10 years, it was unthinkable, like somebody going to a bank branch, trying to do a transaction, or using mobile or internet banking is definitely a challenge for the category that I am talking about. Look at a farmer there in a village using UPI big time in terms of the banking transaction. So UPI has been a game changer in the entire payment space, and I think I really thank the partners who have made it possible, a lot of fintech people, a lot of technology company, they have really made it possible for India, where UPI has been a game changer. And I think as a bank, we really appreciate the spirit at which the UPI churn has happened. Just a couple of data points here. There are almost 187 billion digital transactions that happen in FY 23-24. And till the 10 months in this current financial year, this number exceeded the last year numbers. Similarly, in terms of and volume-wise, the amount was 199 trillion Indian rupee in last year on the UPI. As on today, we are at 213 trillion. That means exceeding the last full year transaction volume. Couple of things which are made possible because of the digital churn here. The usage of the government initiative, the themes at which the government working on, both in terms of Digital India, Make in India, these are also driving this churn on the payment space that happening. Not to mention the usage of AI, ML, automation, cloud, edge computing, blockchain, Web3. So these are the ecosystem which are driving this payment space to have a complete churn, and that's something very significant in India. The second aspect, again, building block, which is important for a bank and technology, is the overall digital public infrastructure. Whether the Aadhaar started long back in terms of creating, all kind of a digital data for each of the consumer. Couple of new themes which again we started, that's something on the CBDC, like the central bank digital currency. The ULI has been a great innovation which the RBIS has given to most of the banks which we are partner and doing. ONDC is also a great innovation. Let me talk about CBDC. What is the role of CBDC? We as a bank quite strongly believe the story of CBDC in India. I'll just give a small example. When UPI came, maybe around a decade back, many of us used to do a transaction, particularly on the e-commerce, through the credit card. And why credit card? Because there was a credit available to me while making that payment. So when the UPI came, many doubted at that point of time, saying that, is that somebody is getting a credit? is going to forgo that and go for a direct debit into the account through UPI. That's not going to happen. But then every small ticket transaction has moved to UPI. Why? Because of the ease at which the people are able to do the transaction. And when we talk about CBDC as on today, possibly still there are doubts in the mind, is that concept going to work successfully in India? The model that, along with the regulator, banks are working on CBDC is to create the ease of doing transaction that can far better as compared to any other mode of transaction. And we in Bank of Baroda strongly believe that CBDC, the central bank digital currency, is going to completely revolutionize the entire payment space in terms of how do you make a payment, and that's something I think we must work on to improve the CBDC. Not to mention, ULI is going to be a game changer in terms of the lending space. The ONDC is already a platform, many have been onboarded. So these are the digital public infrastructure wherein I think the India tech story is highly based on, and we as a partner along with the fintech and tech people vis-a-vis bank, I think we need to do a lot more in terms of creating those kind of a structure for the India story to continue to be a Viksit Bharat. The third thing, let me again compliment, thanks people on the digital first businesses and the fintech and the startups. They have created a huge churn in the entire banking space because that is how the entire superstructure of digital is based on. As a data, there are 100 unicorns in India now. That's something maybe a decade back or maybe 2 decades was an unthinkable proposition. So the banking cannot grow in India unless and until there is a adequate, what you can say, the superstructure in terms of the fintech, the kind of a. So we as a bank clearly see partnering for taking the banking business forward. So that's something happening already, and I think possibly going forward that would be a key buzzword, that collaboration, partnership, bank, fintech is going to drive very clearly the India story for going forward. Now the next story, which is again mostly talked about by most of the speaker on the AI story now. And we as a bank clearly seen the benefit of AI in banking usages, where one of the bank have a lot of use cases on AI. Just to name, on a front-end side of the customer, we deployed 3 AI model. One is a model called Aditi. Many of you already we have announced from the bank side on multiple occasions, which is a live bot interacting with the customer. Another is a chatbot, which is having a different experience than the earlier. And the third is very important, that we have a model, which is a Gyan Saha model, that is meant for my internal staff. And the purpose is to serve the customer well. Like anybody, we have 80,000 employees, so I would very well know that driving all the 80,000 employees into the same page and the same knowledge level is very difficult. So in case a customer asking, saying that, what's your housing loan rate? Suppose my frontline staff doesn't know that. He is supposed to know, but suppose he doesn't know that, he can straightaway go to Gyan Saha and get the answer then and there. So we deployed 3 models which working very well. And not to mention that these 3 models have got a space in the Gartner study as one of the top 5 innovation in banking in last 1 year. The 3 models were also talked about the CEO of Microsoft when he came to India and addressed the banking CEOs. Then he mentioned about all the 3 models of Bank of Baroda on the AI space. So we as a bank clearly focus on the AI usage. And that is what actually the partners here can work more on that. And I think a great value that we can derive out of deploying AI on the banking space. Couple of other things which are again very important for all of us. While working on the digital technology, AI, the real worry on many of us mind, like the CEOs, is the threat of cybersecurity. And every day when we read newspaper, other than internally, we know the attacks are happening from across. But when you read newspaper, every day you find somebody has been made a digital arrest, he lost money on that. That's something I think the industry need to work very strongly. Then how do you protect the sanctity of the system? That's important. And I think the tech partners, the fintech people really can work to figure out what is that structure you can create on the cybersecurity so that the customer data is all protected. There are many new things that I think as partners, both operating in the system, you as a tech partner, we as a bank, we are now, somebody already talked about with a personalized services, omni-channel integration, hyper-personalization, data analytics, all those things, cyber security integration. These are something, again, the next level of usage, and I think all of us need to work to improve that. The beautiful part of what is happening in banking typically is many of the underwriting process we are getting completely end-to-end digital. Already, along with partners, we have made the agree, many of the banks, including us, made the agree delivery, credit delivery digital. We are going to do it for MSME and going to do and more such product to have either an end-to-end digital or assisted digital therein. And that's something can really bring value to the system. So with this building block, I think the discussion, we have a conclave like this, where possibly you have multiple panels. I have seen that. I think that you can get the right, what you can say, input for taking all of us. Taking all of us, when I mean all of us, I strongly believe in partnership and collaboration as a bank. We can take it to the next forward. I'm leaving only two thoughts with you to evolve or find out the answer to it. Having done everything possible in the Indian banking space as on today, is that something we really be mindful going forward? Yes, it is so. The DPDP Act is going to be a reality. A scenario like a DPDP Act, I mean, possibly a lot of equation would be rewired, a lot of concept to be, change, a lot of, because the basic underlying principle of DPDP is a customer consent. And currently, while evolving the superstructure, both in terms of banking and also fintech collaboration, we have not thought about it. Every day I travel through the ceiling, and there is a billboard showing that it says that DPDP Act, and if you are caught, rupees 250 crore is the penalty. It talks about 3 words in that particular billboard, and that's a reality. So my request to all of you, maybe people who are here, technically much more qualified than we as a bank operate, need to relook into the space of DPDP. Another aspect, again, I am throwing, the banks have invested heavily into digital technology for last 2 or 3 decades. Sir was maybe some of the earlier one to involve into technology and banking. But I was in one of the panel discussion or somewhere interacting with one of the top consultant, Big Four somewhere. And he told me one thing, saying that based on some data, he told me saying that the banks invested heavily, this much billions into the technology space. But does that reduce the cost to income of banks? The cost to income ratio of banks for last 5 years, whether it is public, private, it is the same. It has not gone down. So now the time, I think we need to think of, the cost to income is not only the tech cost, the cost to income is also talks about a lot of operating cost, which again the banks have a responsibility to reduce it. But I think you need to again slightly figure out how to reduce the cost to income to the banks. The biggest delta or the value that you can derive out of this is that in case you are able to bring down the cost to income ratio, particularly on the usage, like suppose I have taken a technology and I am handling a business volume of X, and the cost is something, can I make it X plus Y so that my cost goes down? So that's a theme that all of us need to work. So I am living with 2 thoughts. How do we evolve a bank and fintech player collaboratively in the DPDP world? And second, how we again evolve as partners to reduce the cost to income, particularly the tech cost in terms of value. Investment would keep on happening. It would go in multiple times. But per unit transaction, can I reduce it in the process? With this, I wish good luck, all the best. It's a 2 days intense conclave by Ibex, and thanks for inviting me, and wish all my best wishes from Bank of Baroda side and my personal side for the conference. Thank you very much.